November 4 Whiskey Romeo, is that a Roger?
Says November 4 Whiskey Romeo, is that a Roger? Roger, Roger.
Roger, and what's the name there?
Roger, and what's the name there?
Name is Rob. Romeo Alpha Bravo. I just got a Yaesu FT710 yesterday. Just first time transmitting.
Roger, Rob. And you're down in Tennessee?
Roger, Rob. And you're down in Tennessee?
Yes, sir. Probably about 20 minutes from Lynchburg, if you're familiar with Lynchburg.
All right. Why don't you, if you would, why don't you give me about 10 seconds, tell me about your antenna system, and let me see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Antenna system, and let me see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Roger, Roger. I have a considered a long wave. It's about antenna, and I have it in kind of a lazy inverted V here, and of course using the internal antenna tuner, and it seems to be doing a pretty good job. I had my previous setup was the 891, and I moved that over to my mobile setup, and I've been wanting a base station, so I kind of pulled the trigger and got this S10, and really like it so far. I've been listening to you, and I only heard maybe two of the people you were talking to, and but one of the guy in North Carolina, he was full quiet here. I mean, I heard him 5.9 plus.
Roger that. Well, gosh, let's see here, Rob. If you would like, I think you could stand a little adjustments there. Are you familiar with that radio as far as where your compressor is and where your ALC meter and your equalization, those items?
Just barely. I just opened up the manual and was trying to, because I was listening to some of the adjustments you were making, so I was trying to familiarize myself with where those were. So I was going to do a little reading, and before I made contact with you, probably on another day, that hey, you threw your call out there, and I could hear you. I've got a solid signal on you.
Roger. Well, gosh, I just got some bad news. I did not get a good recording this afternoon on my show. I did lose the audio portion because of some erroneous. Oh gosh, it's a long story, but I did lose the audio, and that's the most important thing. So I was just looking around here to see if we could get something going. What you need to do, you have kind of a bassy signal right now, so we can do real quick without going through a lot of stuff. If you can easily put your compressor on a 3, your compressor processor on a 3 out of 10, or a 30 out of 100, Roger?
Roger. I just have to find where I can adjust those levels. And so with that, I'm not quite familiar with the menu system to get in there and adjust those.
Okay, let me give you some notes. Would that work?
Roger. That sounds good. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what you want to do, the first thing is to make sure that your transmitter is running in the 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth. 100 to 2900. And if you have like 3 selections, I would move them all to 100 to 2900. That would be the best, widest possibility for your transmitter to operate in. And so by making all of those adjustments the same, it's impossible to get off track as far as something else coming along and then changing your transmit bandwidth. So 100 to 2900 is the magic numbers on your transmit bandwidth. Okay, so past that, moving on your compressor processor, we want a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. So it's a compressor processor on, and a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. Then move on to your ALC with mic gain in hand, and as you say the magic word audio, stretch out the first part of that. You become a human test tone generator, and you adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3 or 7, whichever comes first. So it's onto your ALC, and as you key the mic and say the word audio and drag that out, adjust your mic gain to where your ALC meter is running 7 or 2/3, whichever comes first. Roger?
Roger, roger. Yeah, I got a good copy on that. On the mic gain, 2/3 or 7.
Yes, sir, Rob. And then to your equalizer. And what we want to do is sharpen your audio up. Right now it's kind of muddy. Not really muddy, but it's kind of bassy. And we want to sharpen that up a little bit. So the first thing is we go up to the treble EQ. And I don't know if you have a 3-band. Do you know if you have a 3-band EQ or exactly what your equalizer looks like?
I think I've heard the 710 has a 3-band equalizer.
Yes, sir. And okay, so if it's adjustable, we want the treble to be at 2.7 kilohertz. To adjust your treble EQ to 2.7 kilohertz, and then boost it by 5 clicks. So it's +5 at 2.7 kilohertz. And if you have a width control, we want that width to be at a 4. Roger?
Roger, roger, 4.
Okay, then your mid-range will be flat. That mid-range should be flat or off, whichever comes first. And we also want to be sure that the equalizer is on. Some radios you have to turn the equalizer on, so make sure that the equalizer is turned on or is operable, And then on the bottom side, we want to move the bottom control to 200 hertz. 200 hertz with the 4. 200 hertz with the 4 minus 5 clicks. So roll off 5 clicks on the bottom end at 200 hertz with a width of 4. Roger?
Roger, roger. 5 clicks down.
And that should give you a good intelligible signal there. And very articulated. And gosh, I've got a good copy on you today, so maybe next Friday you can join us and we'll compare the situation, hear what those numbers sound like when you crank them in. And between now and then, if you would like to listen to your audio, we are recording, and I hope. Yeah, boy. We are recording now, and so if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording, and it'll be up there by noontime. Roger?
Roger, roger. Tomorrow at noon, you said you'd have it posted up?
Yes, sir. Roger, roger. And like I say, maybe next Friday you can join me again. I do have a really good signal on you, so I think our geography works out. I'm pretty sure this is, some degree of propagation, but I think our distances are good for a bounce at this distance, so you should have no problem next Friday getting in, Roger.
Oh, roger, roger. Yeah, that's really the main reason I upgraded to my general is I started listening to 75 and 40, and because in my area, it's the VHF and the UHF is just not very active. Now in Huntsville, of course, everything's active down there, but I'm a little bit out of range, most of the repeaters, and so once I started listening to 40 and 75, I said, yep, I got to upgrade now, and it's I've really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed talking to you, Rick. It's cool that you give me the signal report at the in-depth. That's the right word, as you are.
Roger. Now, as far as the UHF, VHF, I've got a couple of thoughts for you. If you were, not doing too well as far as communicating down that way, you have a couple of options. You can get yourself a directional antenna, a Yagi antenna on a rotor, and pick up some gain that way, so you can get into some of those other areas. Or you can get yourself an antenna. It's called a GP9. GP9, which is a gain antenna for, I forget what the gain factors are on VHF and UHF, but it's a really good antenna. It's used a lot in repeater base stations, but it really can, if you can get that sucker up around 30 feet, you'll hear a lot of traffic there. You'll be able to talk to them too. The thing about the GP9 though is it's non-directional, so you have a large footprint. You'll be probably knocking on a lot of doors when you transmit there. So it'll depend. You might be having to run a lot of different numbers in your quiet codes just to not knock on so many doors. But the GP9, I run a GP9 at about 70 feet, and gosh, it's just amazing. I can work maybe 4 different repeaters on the same frequency. It just depends on their PL numbers, Roger.
Roger. Yes, that's the antenna I have for my base station, but I've only got it up about maybe 10 to 12 feet. I've got it mounted on the gable out there on the house. So if I could, and plus I live kind of in the hole a little bit. So if I could get it up, like you said, up to 30 feet, I shouldn't have a problem there. But, great antenna. So, now since I've kind of gotten over to HF, I'll pretty much hang out around here. I've kind of gotten over when I'm on.
Roger that. Yeah, and they say every foot over, I forget what it was, every foot over 10 foot is like the first 10 foot as far as gain, sensitivity, I should say. So height is might in UHF and VHF. I never really particularly liked UHF. It just seemed to me like you had to run twice the power to go half as far as a VHF. VHF is really, really nice. I in my younger days, I spent about 2 years on VHF, and mainly did a lot of repeater contacts. And I worked southeast from my location around Louisville, so I did all the mountains down there, and it was always a pleasure when I got through. And these mountains were, around 200 miles, 300 miles, and that my greatest one was about 400 miles around the Asheville area, and I worked that about 8 times. So, it is, I forget what the name of the mountain is, but it's one of the tallest mountains in the eastern part of the United States. It's about 5,000, 6,000 feet high, and it really has a great footprint. So that with just a little bit of propagation, skip, and you'll be talking to the Carolinas, and that's the direction I would go if I were you. I would be working on towards Knoxville and Asheville and around through there. Those are some neat repeaters with some height. Roger.
Roger. Yeah, especially there around the Smokies and Chattanooga. They've got a couple good machines down there, and. I guess I'm just now starting to kind of get active again, and so just kind of investigating a lot of this stuff. I've had same setup, but I just, work and everything else is not getting on the air. I know down in Huntsville, the 14694 is they're linked into one of I think the East Coast reflectors. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, listening to a lot of guys who do nets, like a morning net, and then I guess the commute back home, they do a net. I kind of, I just like the HF. It's kind of grown on me now, and so that's mostly where I hang out. Sometimes I'll turn on the 2-meter simplex and kind of listen. There's a few guys in the area that are active on the 5P, which is 6.2, and haven't done much of the sideband VHF. I do have a radio that does. It's just not I just don't really have a good antenna set up for it. But man, I appreciate your help. What do you go by? You go by James?
By Jim, Julian, India Mike, and like I say, we're up around Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Kentucky. And gosh, if we get a chance, maybe like I say, join me next Friday. You'll have a chance to look your book over and try to crank those numbers in and see what you sound like then, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, Jim, I really appreciate your help. I'm going to log this into QRZ, and man, I really appreciate it. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your testing and stuff like that, and I'll be on the side just listening out. All right, thanks, Jim. KC9VKV. This is N4WWR. Thank you.
Roger, Rob. And is that a hand mic you're using?
No, sir. I've got the Heil Pro Elite or something like that. It's just kind of a rag headset, and but it's comfortable, especially if I'm on late at night or something like that. I can try to keep things as quiet as I can.
Roger. Well, normally we would suggest moving that boom out in front of you as far as you can get it, and then at the last minute take a 90. So you've got the element in front of you, but get the element out in front of you as far as you can get it, Roger?
Roger. Yeah, I'll make that adjustment.
And then you might need to go back to your ALC and reset your level, because your level will probably drop when you move that mic out a little bit further. But the idea is that if you get closer to that element, you have a rising bass characteristic that you maybe not be to your advantage. So when you move that mic off a little bit, your bass level starts to drop off, and your treble level stays about the same. So your equalization brightens up just a little bit with you moving it back off of your mouth a little bit forward, Roger.
Roger. Yep, I'll get that adjusted, and then I'll get into the menu and see if I can see how that responds.